right? So kind of referencing back to what you had said about a guy does say anything to get a woman's pants. He's not going to be straight off saying, hey, do you want to have sex? Of course. My thing is with this guy, it all...
Hello, how are you guys doing? Happy Monday. I hope you guys... Hello, how are you guys doing?
Hello. Ooh.
What happened?
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Yeah.
Ooh. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Candidly Kendall, the podcast where I overshare on the internet. Love it, living, laughing, loving it. Guys, I'm sick and I am pissed off about it. I'm not gonna lie. Tonight, I was supposed to host some of my friends for a little Christmas holiday celebration. I bought all the wine, all the charcuterie. I made 2 types of cookies, and yesterday I woke up sick. Dude, that's life. That's what happens when you get sick. It just comes so good, so delicious. I feel like I'm not really able to get the right amount of nutrients I need. This is because I barely ate meat anyway. I like to drink more than one night in a row, if I'm honest. I like the feeling of being loose and like laughing with my friends. So that's just like how my clock is set up. So even if it's the week, I challenge myself. But it's hard. It's hard when you don't want to be drinking a ton. Yes? Was it a weird thing to do after a 5-hour date with a second location? Also, yes. I think it's super easy to hear the situation when you personally were not physically there, emotionally. That is the reason that I have been single for I'm attracted to you, but I wouldn't want to date. The last episode I posted where I talked.
Yeah. Let's get it.
This concept of I could do better, bitch, at least 85% of men who approached women were really out of the woman's league. For the only thing that kept a woman in a league was because she looked a little cute and she might suck a dick. That was it. At least 85% of men who have approached 100% of women were out of the woman's league. For real. Like on some real shit, not just looking cute for that 5 minutes, but on some real, like on character levels, intellect levels, the man's out of her league.
We back in here. Hit the like button. The more you hit the like button, the more people will come into the stream. You want me to stay on 2 hours? I'm looking to meet a $15 live stream goal. Cash App, PayPal, Streamlabs, all at the top of the chat. Whatever you can give is greatly appreciated. $5 makes you the live stream sponsor, king or queen of the stream. What else is there to be said? Let's get into this ridiculous nonsense. My regulars, rare breeds, let me know something in the live chat. Let me know you're here rocking with me. Say hello. Let's get into it. I'm just here so I won't get fined. I don't know. Pop up random stream. Probably should record it just in case this is good enough to chop up for the new channel, which is Dating Dysfunctions. If you want to see my normal videos, just follow me on Dating Dysfunctions. Just type in Dating Dysfunctions on YouTube. Let's get it.
Talked about that. I had some follow-up thoughts from the last episode I posted where I talked about that experience when I went on 2 dates with a guy and I was rejected at the end of them. I filmed that podcast episode 2 days after that happened, and I've had a lot more reflection on the experience. If you haven't watched that video, listen to that episode, go do that. Just a quick recap, I reached out to this guy, we were mutuals on Instagram. He had really cool style, I loved his music taste, we went on a date, he enthusiastically wanted a second, went on the.
Okay, I got something to say already. I have something to say already. Does she kind of look like Jennifer Lawrence? I don't know. That's the vibe I'm getting. She's an attractive woman. Nose ring is never a good sign. It's always a horrible sign. So he said I reached out to this guy. Off top, we already know he's a super tall, handsome, charismatic guy because she reached out to him. See, if you look good enough and you're tall enough, you don't have to reach out to women. Women will reach out to you. So we already know before she gets deep into the story, this guy has a bunch of options and he can afford to be extremely picky. This is the cycle they stay on. Go after a guy who's out of my league and keep getting my heart broke when he doesn't want to settle down with me. But here's the thing, it's not even really super personal a lot of the times. A lot of these guys just don't want to settle down, period. It may be that you're a nice, smart, funny, interesting person. Well, usually not, but I'm just saying, it may just be he just doesn't want to settle down. But well, I hate to be that guy. But more than likely, it's usually because a lot of woes don't have likable personalities. They're not likable people to be around a lot of times. But here's the thing, for most But here's the thing, for most of their lives, they don't have to be likable, interesting, funny people. They can just be cute. That will get them 90% of the way with 90% of men. The problem is the 10% of men they want and up, it won't get them that far. Just looks isn't enough for a super giga Chad. It's just not going to be enough. And this is where a lot of women are inadequate. And this is where a lot of woes are inadequate. Actually enticing a man and charming a man and making a man like you. Well, let's see what happened. I could be completely off base.
On Instagram. He had really cool style. I loved his music taste. We went on a date. He enthusiastically wanted a second. Went on the second date to the Met, spent hours at the Met, went to a bar. I asked if he wanted to go on another, and he was like, I'm attracted to you, but I wouldn't want to date you. At face value, that is just like a blanket rejection statement. Nothing I should necessarily take personally, but I certainly did. And I think the reason I did is because it struck a chord within me that is like probably the most severe insecurity of mine, is that I wouldn't make a good partner. And that is the reason that I have been single for basically ever. And it sort of reinstilled that fear in me that everyone I go on with dates, like that's what they think of me.
Well, yeah. I'm not shocked. I mean, the nose ring gave it away that you wouldn't make a good partner. And that sounds ignorant, but it's just a theory that almost, I don't know if it ever failed. The nose ring theory is very true. Now, what does it mean when an attractive woman like this says, I've never been in a relationship? It means I've been getting pumped and dumped by dudes who are tall and look like models. And I've been settling for that instead of just picking a guy who actually wants to be with me. There's a lot of damage here, folks. A lot of damage. See, so let me point this out. I mean, I basically just said it. A man with a bunch of options can afford to be super critical about every little one of your flaws. But that's what you got to deal with when you want to go after top guys. You wouldn't have to go through that with the bottom 90% of guys, but you would rather keep going through this silly cycle than just pick a decent guy who's, you know, not magical looking. You would rather keep going through this heartache than just pick a guy who isn't exactly a guy from a fairy tale with a chiseled jaw. And here's the thing. She looks like she's at least 30, 35. That's 20 years of baggage and getting jaded by the guy she want not wanting her. At this point, she can't be a good woman for any man. That's the sad part. And she knows it. She just kind of acknowledged it. It's not just some RP meanie quote. All this stuff we say in the RP community, women know it's true. That's why it triggers them so much. If I just got on here and said women can fly, nobody would care. Because it's because it's clearly not true and it's just ridiculous. It wouldn't strike a chord with anybody. If I said something ridiculous like most women are running secret layers where, they're exploiting flying pigs to make them, fancy sweaters. Nope. Nobody would care about that. Nobody would get triggered and mad about that because it's just ridiculous and absurd. It only hit a nerve when it's true.
Severe insecurity of mine is that I wouldn't make a good partner, and that is the reason that I have been single for basically ever. And it sort of reinstilled that fear in me that everyone I go on with dates, like, that's what they think of me. Objectively, were he and I just probably not a great match? Yes. I guess that probably was it. Was it probably him just not really feeling the connection and then fumbling the rejection? Yes, I think that is more likely the case here. Was it me taking his words a little too personally? Yes. Was it a weird thing to do after a 5-hour date with a second location? Also, yes. I think it's super easy to hear the situation when you personally were not physically there, emotionally there, experiencing it and saying, like, what's the big deal? Get over it.
I'm gonna say this. Yeah. I'm gonna say this. This guy was a saint. I can't stand the idea of a long date. To me, the point of the first 3 dates are to kind of just hang out and talk for an hour and then get out of there and see if you feel. eh, Okay, let me start over. To me, the point of a date is to kind of go for an hour, hang out with somebody, maybe 2 max, get the vibe, and then get out of there and go home and assess. Well, that's like a first date. And I would say the same thing for a second date. You're still filling it out. The third date, maybe you know you're feeling them, y'all have a connection, then you could go on a longer date or something like that. But even with that, 5 hours, that sounds unbearable for me. So for this guy to stay on a 5-hour date with a chick he wasn't feeling like that, probably a great guy. Just didn't like it, Toots. He just didn't like it.
We're not physically there, emotionally there, experiencing it and saying, like, what's the big deal? Get over it. I totally hear you, but maybe me coming off the back of a guy just ghosting me and just this has been my dating experience, is being rejected. I am definitely someone who experiences rejection sensitivity. It's very common among people with complex PTSD and autistic people, both of which I am. So let's Google that a little bit, because I talk about it with my therapist and I've been meaning to Google it. This is what Google has to say. Rejection-sensitive dysphoria in autism involves intense emotional pain from perceived or actual rejection/criticism.
Here we go. Here we go with the victim crap. Oh, I'm just a poor girl with autism. 90% of men would marry her if she act nice to him for 3 dates. Okay, I mean, I'm over exaggerating, but you know what I mean. You're not a victim. You've ghosted hundreds of men since you were 15, I'm sure. And some of those guys were actually tall and handsome too, but they just didn't meet your picky standards. You've had every opportunity. You've had more opportunities than most humans on this earth to get a successful relationship, even with autism, if you even have it. So I don't want to hear it. A cute girl with autism has way more options than the average guy who's even a 9. I'll just say this, a 6 girl with autism has more options than even a 9 guy. So I don't wanna hear this victim just don't wanna hear it.
Or actual rejection/criticism, leading to meltdowns, social withdrawal, anxiety, and low self-esteem, often heightened by social pressures and sensory differences. Autistic individuals may misinterpret social cues, making even small feedback feel like harsh judgment, compounded by masking efforts that cause burnout. If that ain't me, let me Google rejection sensitivity, CPTSD, complex PTSD, rejection.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. She's talking about she got low self-esteem. Do you think if a Steve Urkel looking motherfucker, a dorky dude come up to her and try to get her number, do you think she's gonna have low self-esteem then? That low self-esteem is just gonna magically disappear if an average Joe come up to her trying to holler at her. Ain't that a coinky dink? She only have low self-esteem with male models who are basketball heighted. You don't find that to be a weird coincidence?
Google rejection sensitivity, CPTSD. Complex PTSD rejection sensitivity involves intense emotional pain, anger, or deep sadness from perceived or actual rejection, stemming from trauma that dysregulates the nervous system, creating a fear of abandonment, low self-worth, and insecure attachment, often seen alongside ADHD and BPD. I mean, yes, I think this is all something I very much experience, and not just in romantic settings, but it is definitely heightened here since this is like my biggest insecurity. And I have handled rejection before. I have dealt rejection, and it still wasn't the same as this circumstance. People in the comments were like, well, at least he was honest. Like, would you have rather he ghosted you? I'm not sure I would rather he have ghosted me, but maybe if he knew he couldn't deliver it kindly in that moment, send a follow-up text being like, hey, I really enjoyed getting to know you, but I don't think it's a match. And yes, maybe I'm just too sensitive. Maybe that is the case, and if it is, that's fine with me. I think my emotion.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. From what she said, he said, you're really cool, you're pretty or whatever, but I wouldn't date you long term. Is that really so cruel? He just kept it a buck with you. I wouldn't date you. You're pretty, cool chick, but I can't see us romantically having anything serious or real. Straightforward, blunt, no problem. You don't think she said something 10 times harsher in her life to some guy she didn't like? I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. You don't think she ever laughed in a guy's face who just tried to come up and get her number? Maybe she hasn't. I'm just saying. Women only start talking this stuff about, I'm a human, god damn it. When it comes to them getting rejected by, top 5 percenters. But when it comes to them rejecting average Joes, they don't care about humanity then. Oh, the humanity. They don't care about all that then. High school, when she was at the popular table laughing at the dorks for thinking they had a chance with her. Yeah, she didn't care about human decency then.
Maybe that is the case, and if it is, that's fine with me. I think my emotional capabilities is one of the most beautiful things about me, and it is what enables me to connect with people so easily. And on that note, I have been contemplating what it means to be told you're too much. This is something that I have heard before from my friends' partners. They'd be like, oh, like whoever ends up with Kendall has to be able to handle all that phrase, and the concept of being too much so deeply confuses me. When I hear that, it makes me think that there's something extra about myself that like my partner will have to bear. I like to think I'm a
Okay. Okay. So far, she's not coming across too extra in this video. I got a feeling we're getting a tame version. I'm sure there's another side that is a bit much, to say the least. But to be honest, that's going to be the case with most woes. That whole nice girl, mild thing, it's usually an act when she's trying to get some guy to like her or get some people to like her. But when you really get to know her on a deep level and the mask comes off and you're being around her all the time, seeing the true, authentic her, it runs a lot of people off. It really does. With a lot of woes.
makes me think that there's something extra about myself that like my partner will have to bear. I like to think I'm a pretty self-aware person, so it's pretty hard for me to conceptualize this. It makes me feel like I have some blind spots about my personality, and maybe I do. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I do. Everyone does. I can't see any other way than to just be myself, who is loving, kind, compassionate, warm, and that makes me too much. It's just so, I can't wrap my mind around it. Is it because I value emotional depth? Is it because I look at the world in a different way? Probably. But I'm trying to shift my mindset a little bit about this and not make it about me.
Okay. Think about that last okay. Think about that last 15 seconds of her explaining herself. Did that sound like somebody with low self-esteem? I'm kind, I'm caring, I value emotional depth. That doesn't sound like low self-esteem to me. Sounds like you think very highly of yourself. See, they're just inherently full of it, man. They're just inherently full of it.
In a different way? Probably. But I'm trying to shift my mindset a little bit about this and not make it about me. How about it's not that I'm too much, it's that he's too little. He can't meet me in my emotional depth. He is as shallow as a kiddie pool. All of my life experience.
This is absurd. This is absolutely absurd. So because he didn't like your personality or you did something that gave him the ick, that automatically means he's shallow as a pool? And you're not shallow for picking a guy who I'm 1000% positive is gorgeous, probably fit, and got a gym body. He had to pass that test before you would even reach out to him. By the time a woman is reaching out to a man trying to shoot her shot, he's incredible. He's a top 0.5 percenter. He's incredible on the shallow checklist by the time a woman is reaching out. See, they don't mention that. Let's just say she's telling the truth. She is emotionally deep and value emotional depth and this and that. Yeah, after he's a beautiful man with a chiseled body and jaw. He don't care about getting emotional depth from some, comic book nerd. You see what I'm saying? You see how they try to project? He just didn't like your ass. And you got to tell yourself he's a bad person to protect your pathetic, fragile ego. So who's really the bad person?
But I'm trying to shift my mindset a little bit about this and not make it about me. How about it's not that I'm too much, it's that he's too little. He can't meet me in my emotional depth. He is as shallow as a kiddie pool. All of my life experiences, though challenging, have made me who I am today, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I love who I am, and I know the right person will see me and value me. And hey, if no one does, maybe I'm meant to be single, and that's
Here's another idea. Or here's another idea. Maybe you need to bat a little lower. Maybe you need to swing a little lower. Maybe a guy doesn't have to look like a Greek god for you to have a connection with him. Ever think about that? Of course not, because you're shallow as a kiddie pool.
will see me and value me. And hey, if no one does, maybe I'm meant to be single, and that's okay too. Going through so many like rough experiences dating men, I'm like, am I asexual? Maybe I just should truly become a nun, never partake in any romantic anything for the rest of life. I was out to dinner with my friends the other night, and my friend brought up a good point, and I love a friend who challenges you. She said, "Do you think you choose this type of man knowing that they're going to reject you?" Ooh, girl. You got me good. In a sense, yes. I'm very much attracted to like an artistic man. I like a pretty boy. I like when they have style. My friend joked that
Is this camera on me?
Yes, it's on.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
I told you so. I told you so. So for all the people who think I'm ridiculous and I'm making too many assumptions, there it is. I'm the basic bee whisperer. She just said it. I like artistic pretty boys. I told you. Didn't I call it? Because I'm sure a lot of people who try to shoot cute girls bail, they would say, Oh, how is he assuming that? How does he know he looked like a Greek god and this and that? There you have it.
In a sense, yes, I'm very much attracted to like an artistic man. I like a pretty boy. I like when they have style. My friend joked that it looks like every boy I've been on dates with went to NYU. I don't think any one of them has actually been to NYU, just for the record. These men who are super stylish and artistic, musicians, artists, whatever, they tend to be more emotionally unavailable. Tale as old as time. We always knew this. Do I subconsciously choose these types of men as a self-fulfilling prophecy, believing deep down that I'm not worthy for a relationship? So I choose these people knowing that they'll reject me.
No, women aren't that. No, women aren't that complicated. You just want a tall, hot guy. It's not deep and philosophical. You're just shallow and superficial and have a huge ego, and you feel like I'm not settling for anything less than a 9 or 10. It's not anything deep. You're not deep, despite what you may believe and despite what your glazing girlfriends may tell you, you're not deep. Once again, you're shallow as a kiddie pool. And you figure I'm cute, I'm hot, so why should I settle for anything less than somebody's hot? You figure I'm cute, I'm hot, I'm fit. Why should I settle for anything less than a 9 or 10? That's all it is. It's very surface level.
Unavailable. Tale as old as time. We always knew this. Do I subconsciously choose these types of men as a self-fulfilling prophecy, believing deep down that I'm not worthy for a relationship? So I choose these people knowing that they'll reject me. Could that be the case? Of course, I want to say no, but I don't know. Since it keeps happening, subconsciously, I might find comfort in that experience because it's what I know and it's what I've known. And maybe it reaffirms deep down what I think about myself. Of course, this is like the never-ending thing of trying to better my self-esteem and believe that I am worthy of a true loving relationship, but
Here we go with this self-esteem stuff. Just a minute ago, she was kissing her own ass. And now she's back to talking about she got low self-esteem. Wait, I gotta rewind it. Hold on.
maybe I need to take some are super stylish and artistic. In a no one does, maybe. About me. How about it's not that I'm too much, it's I'm trying to shift my mindset a little bit about this and not make it about me. How about it's not that I'm too much, it's that he's too little. He can't meet me in my emotional depth. He is as shallow as a kiddie pool.
That sound like somebody. Hey, listen to me. Does that sound like somebody with low self-esteem? I'm just asking. I'm asking for a friend. The fuck out of here.
Deter me from dating for too long, and I am much more susceptible to and believe that I am worthy of a true loving relationship, but maybe I need to take some accountability. And someone actually left this in a comment on the last video, but practice more discernment and being more attuned to when people aren't treating me the way they should. And that is something that I've struggled with, not only in romantic relationships, especially in romantic relationships, but in friendships. I had a very abusive mother growing up, so I am much more susceptible to fall into these relationships where someone is cruel to me. My brain has a funny way of convincing itself that people like me. One of the top comments was to not let this experience deter me from dating for too long, and I completely agree. I shouldn't let this one experience dictate my dating journey. In the same breath, and I'm sure I will be over this in a month, but in the same breath, I feel like how many times can I be
This guy, look, this guy must have really been a showstopper. They went on 2 funky ass dates, and she talking about she still won't be over it in a month. 2 funky dates. These people are sad, man. These people are fucking sad.
In the same breath, and I'm sure I will be over this in like a month, but in the same breath, I feel like, how many times can I be rejected? It really hurts my heart, and hey, maybe I need tougher skin, and I think that's true. It's hard being a sensitive girl. I just so badly want to believe in true love. Also, can I mention I live in New York City, which is one of, if not the most competitive dating scenes. Everyone here is a model, everyone here has everything going for them, and I noticed the age to settle down or like be in a serious relationship is much older. I'm only 27, which I'm sure if you like live in the South, 27 is probably archaic.
So it is. And well, it's not even just in the South. 27 is archaic, period, for a while. You missed a few boats by the time you turn 27. The high school boat, the college boat, the shortly after college at work boat. You missed a lot of relationship boats. Yeah, you're old. You're old for dating. It's never going to change, no matter how much people want it to change. If you're a whoa, older than 25 is old to still be on the dating market, especially if you're attractive and fit. Something is seriously wrong with you if you're attractive and fit and still single after 25. No, pretty much no exceptions. If you've been dating since 15 and still single after a decade, being, you know, pretty, fit, and not completely insane, well, yeah, I don't know about that third one, but you get what I'm saying. 10 years of dating as a fit, attractive woman in America, a fit, attractive vanilla woman in America with blonde hair, yeah, something seriously wrong. A good analogy. You know what? Just y'all get the point.
Down or like be in a serious relationship is much older. I'm only 27, which I'm sure if you like live in the South, 27 is probably archaic, but here that's quite young, especially from the men perspective, like they're not settling down. So I'm about to go home for the holidays in a few days. So I think when I get back, I will try again if I'm feeling energetically and emotionally up to it. It takes a lot out of me.
Oh, stop trying. If your mentality is still a 9 or 10 or nothing, yeah, just retire from dating. Because that hasn't been working out for at least 10 years. So at this point, you're insane. Isn't that the definition of insanity? Keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Your looks aren't getting any better with age, hun. And I do mean hun in the most condescending way possible. No, I'm just playing. But look, you're not getting any younger. Whatever. And like, here's the thing. At this point, the damage is done. The damage is done. I hate to say it. There is no happy ending for her at this point. There just isn't. This Prince Charming that she has in her head, he's not coming. He's not coming. All right. And even if he does come, you don't know anything about making a relationship work with a man. You never been in one. And this hypothetical guy would be a top tier guy. He don't got to put up with your stuff once he see how unbearable it is to be in an actual relationship with you. So that's off the table. A happy, wholesome, happily ever after. A happily ever, a wholesome, happily ever after. That's off the table with Prince Charming, and it's awful. And it's also off the table with Average Joe because you're not going to respect him. You're going to resent him. You're going to think about how you should have did something different to get a better quality guy. So you're going to ruin that. So there really is no happy ending romantically for you. I think you should just focus on something else. Learn how to knit, learn how to fly a plane, start a charity or something. I don't know. Start a Reddit group. It's over, unfortunately, and you're only 27, so it's really sad, but it's true. You can still live a fulfilling, happy life, and I hope that for you. Maybe it's best to just leave men alone for your sake and men's sake. What we looking like? We only got 11 likes. That's disgraceful, y'all. Can we get the likes up? Oh, Mr. Bang Your Mom has been hitting me up on Rumble. He says this cope is crazy, bro. It is. If Kevin was here, he'd have to add a new one, nose ring size. Yeah, those girls would be in big trouble if Magneto showed up. Facts. Um. Oh, I get it now. She just some nigga talking shit. Yeah, exactly. This is just some nigga talking shit. This is just some. Now I gotta find it. This is just some talking. This is just something to talk. Damn, I gotta find that meme. I gotta get my meme board back in order. This is just some nigga talk. I feel like that was one of the first memes I added. Let me start from the bottom. Yeah. See if I can find that meme. This is just some nigga talking shit. This is just some nigga talking shit. See if I can find it, y'all. Feel like that was one of the more. That was one of the first ones I put on there. So now I gotta find it. I ain't gonna be happy until I find it. Oh, it wasn't that hard.
This is just some nigga talking shit. This is just some nigga talking shit. And everybody's caught up in all that shit?
Goodness. He's got to be left brain but right brain. He got to be a Greek god. His hair got to be curly but straight. Fact. He got to be a vegan, but only eat steak. Yeah, it's just it's kind of sad, y'all. Because I think she's a pretty girl. I mean, see that's another thing. I mean, she's pretty, but she's only like a 6 or 7 at best. Trying to lock down a 9 or 10, and nines and tens don't have to settle for a 7 because 9 and 10 men are really shallow because 9 and 10 men are really shallow, just like 9 and 10 women are really shallow. But see, here's the difference: shallow 9 and 10 men can get what they want, which is just bedroom fun. Shallow women can't get what they want, which is commitment from a 9 or 10 man. That's the difference between a shallow 9 and 10 man and a shallow 9 or 10 woman. The shallow 9 or 10 man can get the results he want out the dating market. Yeah, poor little Tink Tink. Let's see. Do I feel like staying on a little longer? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a couple more. Poor little Tink Tink.
To men approaching women. What happened to men approaching women? What happened to that? I should cancel my gym membership because I'm not really going that often anymore. However, there's a lot of beautiful men.
Exactly. They only talk about beautiful men. Those are the only type of men that they talk about on the internet are beautiful men. You're not a beautiful woman. That's not an insult. But you going out expecting for beautiful men to hit on you when you're not a beautiful woman is silly and ridiculous. That's why beautiful men aren't approaching you. And keep in mind, when they say, why aren't men approaching? They're talking about beautiful men. They don't care about why even eights down are not approaching, even when they're a 5 at best. Why are super hot men not approaching? That's what they mean when they make these TikToks about men not approaching anymore. They don't give a flying fuck about the bottom 80% of men approaching. Never get that twisted. All the men in the comments saying, so all the men in these women's comments talking about this is why we're not approaching. They're not talking to you, bro. Chances are they're not talking to you. Men who would if you would even take the time to reply to her video in the comment section, you're probably not one of the 9 or 10 guys she's talking about. They're too busy swimming in poontang to reply to this idiot's fucking question of why men are not approaching on TikTok. Yeah, they got better stuff to do than reply to a Fives TikTok inquiry about why men aren't approaching.
There's a lot of beautiful men at my gym. Haven't talked to any of them once, but like, I could, like, I might. So I just keep holding on. So I just keep paying the monthly fee, and I go like once, maybe twice a week, and like kind of look around, and like, I feel like sometimes men are like, well, girls don't want to be approached in the gym. Approach me at the gym. Approach me at the gym. If you are not a psychopath, 6'1", dark hair, British accent, approach me at the gym.
For decades, men were expected to approach women in public. That was normal. It was how relationships started. Men took the risk, started conversations, faced rejection, and moved on.
I mean, it's always in the eyes. It's always in the eyes. She's clearly 30-something. They're not approaching you, babe. There's 22-year-olds with perky tits and lifted asses that they could holler at if they wanted to holler at something. Not a washed up 36-year-old Five. A 6'1" ripped man with a British accent will never fuck with you. That's why you're still on the dating market at this advanced age. And let's be real, even if one did want you, you wouldn't know what to do with him if you got him. So stop it, Five.
Faced rejection and moved on. That was the social contract. Men initiated, women said yes or no. Over time, that message flipped. Men were told approaching women was unwanted, that it was creepy, that it made women uncomfortable. Social media repeated it endlessly. Leave us alone. Stop bothering us. We don't owe you conversation. Men heard that loud and clear.
Question for the men. Why is it that you guys don't seem to approach women in public anymore? I feel like back in the 90s and maybe even 2000s, it was so common for men to come up to women and, ask them out on a date or ask for their numbers and stuff, but it seems to not be a thing anymore. Why is that?
She's not ugly. She's not ugly. She looks maybe out of weight. Are those French tips? What do you call those? I think she's kind of pretty. 5 or 6. I mean, she's a 5 or 6, but I think she's kind of cute. Probably overweight. I like her nails. Hope you're not going out to public in that dingy Def Leopard shirt. That might have something to do why men are not approaching.
Men didn't argue, they adjusted. They stopped approaching in public spaces, bars, gyms, coffee shops, parks, not because they hate women, but because no man wants to be labelled creepy or unsafe for showing interest. So men did exactly what women asked. They left women alone. Fast forward to today, and suddenly women are angry and confused. They're asking why men don't approach anymore, why dating feels cold, why romance feels dead, why everything is on apps. But this didn't happen randomly.
I was literally at a restaurant, yeah, and I could clearly tell.
Damn, you're scaring me. You look scary. You're scaring this shit out of me, ma'am. But let's hear what she has to say. I'm a little spooked. But let's hear what she has to say.
Yeah. And I could clearly tell that this guy that was sitting right there, he clearly fancied me, yeah? Because he kept like, I don't know, do you know when you can tell in it? Bro, like, if you like, just talk to me, like, talk to me then. The fuck? Like,
Would have been creepy if he was a 5 or a 6. She wouldn't be making a TikTok about, come on, talk to me. She would be talking about, there was this creepy guy just staring at me. He was such a perv. It would be a whole different story.
why do men never approach me? Bro, like, god damn.
You can't spend years telling men to stop approaching, then complain when they stop. You can't shame male initiative and then resent its absence. When a behaviour is punished long enough, it disappears. That's not bitterness, that's conditioning. After years of public backlash, most men decided the risk isn't worth it. Safety became more important than initiative.
I feel like it's so rare that men shoot their shot in public anymore, or like even just say hi like a normal human being. I feel like men are so intimidated now and hiding behind social media. They don't know how to talk to girls in real life anymore. And the ones that do are like the freaks, and they be approaching you in the weirdest ways.
I have a lot to say about this. Men that are intimidated by women's looks and so they won't move to them, yeah? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Literally, get over yourself right now. If you know you, as a man, you're good looking, if you are confident in the fact that you're good looking and you see that woman...
It's all about looks with women, bro. It's all about fucking looks. I thought it was men that cared about looks more than anything. It really is women these days. It really is women. All right, let's go to Rumble. Let's go over some shit that I don't go over on YouTube. Maybe a Pop the Balloon from Arlette, or maybe Kendra. Let's see what's popping. Yeah, that's a good idea, X. Yeah, women wouldn't date then. If women had to pay for all the dates until sex happened. I mean, they probably would do it for if you were a 10 out of 10. If you were a 9 or a 10, they probably would pay for all the dates until sex happened. Well, you wouldn't. Well, they would only have to pay for one date because sex will happen after the first date. I mean, look, as far as it being all about looks and money, it's not all about looks and money if you're willing to date a chubby 5 or some socially awkward chick or something. Like, you just got to try to date in your league, and it's going to be less about looks and money. I'll say that. But let's go over to Rumble. Let me drop the Rumble link. Shout out to the Rumbleites who's already there over on Rumble. Everybody go follow me on Rumble. I can get kicked off YouTube any day now. I just dropped the Rumble link. Also follow the Dating Dysfunctions channel, because that's my new channel. I'm only live streaming from this channel. If you want to see my regular videos, go watch Dating Dysfunctions. All right, I'm getting off YouTube. I'm continuing on Rumble. Let me drop that in the live title.
This woman is fucking
Streaming
nuts.
on Rumble after this.
This woman is nuts.
All right. See you, YouTube.
Ho for sure.
Yeah, I remember that girl. She was a hoe.